It's 3 a.m. in the morning. You're scrolling through your phone over and over, trying to track the exact moment it all went wrong. Just yesterday, she was talking about love. And today, she's cold as ice. She demands respect, but constantly undermines your authority. She wants you to lead, but sabotages every decision you make. Your brain is frantically searching for logic in this chaos, but it only finds dead ends. Every attempt at dialogue turns into a minefield, and you can't even remember the last time you felt safe around her. This is a slow poison you're mistaking for a complex relationship. No, you're not going crazy, you're just involved with someone who is fundamentally broken. I'm going to tell you exactly when the point of no return is, and why staying will destroy you. The truth about love and addiction. There's the illusion problem. This is when a person creates a fantasy version of themselves that has nothing to do with reality. They see themselves as the perfect partner while demonstrating toxic behaviors daily. Anyone who challenges this illusion becomes the enemy. This carefully constructed self-image is incredibly fragile, and your role in their script is to constantly validate this illusion, not to question it. They aren't in love with you. They are in love with a story where they are always the hero, and you are either the supporting character or the villain depending on the day. Watch for the power grab dynamic. As soon as someone feels they have total control over you, their attraction dies. Desire needs tension, mystery, an element of unpredictability, but as soon as they know you'll tolerate anything, as soon as they are certain you won't leave, the chemistry evaporates. You stopped being a challenge and became their property. You become furniture, useful but not exciting. After a breakup, their behavior isn't dictated by logic, but by momentary flare-ups. Today, they miss you desperately. Tomorrow, they hate you. They'll send you a long apology at 3 a.m. and then block you by noon. It's crucial to understand these contradictory signals have nothing to do with you or your value. This isn't love. This is emotional instability on full display. And the biochemical shift after infidelity? Most people don't understand this. When a person becomes intimate with someone else, a real chemical bond occurs. Suddenly, their emotional loyalty shifts. That instant detachment you feel, it's not just psychological, it's biological. The old bond has been neurologically overwritten, and you're left facing someone who is chemically loyal to another person. Their body has literally bonded to someone else, and no amount of talking will change that chemistry. Psychological games and loss of authority. Here's the mistake I see constantly. The man makes first contact after a fight or a breakup. In that instant, you lose all your authority in the dynamic. You are voluntarily handing her the remote control for your relationship. Your neediness for her becomes your primary vulnerability. When someone walks away and you chase them, you are sending one message. Your presence is more important to me than my dignity. Attraction requires respect, and nobody respects someone they can walk all over. The one who cares less controls the relationship. This is the corrupt law of toxic dynamics. Double standards will blow your mind if you let them. They demand absolute accountability from you while effortlessly excusing their own misconduct. Her emotions are sacred facts, while yours are subjects for debate and most likely judgment. You're 5 minutes late. That's disrespectful. She's an hour late. You're controlling me by even daring to mention it. You forgot something. You don't care. She forgot. You should have reminded me. She can flirt with others because she's just being friendly, but if you so much as look at another woman, it's considered betrayal. This is a game where the rules are written only for you, and they change whenever it's convenient for her. And you can never win because the finish line is constantly moving. Some people don't communicate. They litigate. Every conversation becomes a debate they need to win. They will twist your words, bring up irrelevant events from the past, deflect all blame, and construct complex arguments to avoid simple truths. You'll say, "I feel hurt when you do X," and suddenly you're defending something you said 3 years ago. They don't want truth. They want your surrender. This isn't dialogue. It's manipulation. They aren't trying to understand you. They are trying to defeat you from equality to chaos. The very dialogue about equality today is completely distorted. Equality should mean cooperation. Two people working together toward common goals. But for some, it has turned into a competition. Everything becomes a battlefield. Who earns more? Who does more around the house? Who sacrificed more? Instead of building together, you're keeping score. This every person for themselves mentality destroys the very essence of partnership. Any success you have isn't seen as a shared victory, but as their personal loss. When equality mutates into a rebellion against any form of masculine leadership, the emotional connection dies. I see this constantly with career-driven individuals who can't turn off the boss at home. They are CEOs at work, and they want to be CEOs in the relationship. They conduct interviews instead of having conversations. Every suggestion you make has to pass through their approval committee, and any vulnerability is seen as a weakness to be eliminated. Professional achievements become armor against intimacy. They would rather choose a meaningless meeting over quality time together, and then wonder why there's no connection. The pattern of inconsistency is what truly drives you insane. On Monday, she adores you and can't imagine life without you. On Tuesday, she's questioning your entire future. On Wednesday, she wants to move in. On Thursday, she needs space. You're thrown from one extreme to the other, and you start to doubt your own sanity. This emotional merry-go-round is designed to keep you in a constant state of tension and uncertainty. You never know which version of this person you're going to wake up with tomorrow. This isn't normal uncertainty. This is emotional chaos. Her words change with her moods, and her moods change with the wind. You cannot build anything stable with someone whose foundation is constantly shifting. Red flags you can't ignore. There's an alarming signal that most men miss. It's the fatherless upbringing pattern. I'm not saying every woman who grew up without a strong father figure is damaged, but there is a pattern you must recognize. When a person grows up without that masculine stability, they often develop an obsession with controlling everything. It's not even conscious. For them, control equals safety. Vulnerability feels like a mortal threat, so they will fight for dominance in every interaction. I had a client whose girlfriend grew up with a single mother. Every time he made a decision where to eat, what movie to watch, how to spend the weekend, she would challenge him. Not because she disagreed, but because his leadership triggered something deep inside her. She would literally tell him, "Be a man," and then immediately crush any attempt he made to show that masculinity. This isn't a relationship. It's a power struggle disguised as love. And here's the problem with this power struggle in modern couples. It's pointless and exhausting. Some people want the aesthetic of having a strong partner, but they want to maintain total control. They'll declare, "I want a real man who takes charge," but the moment you do, they rebel. It's hypocrisy in its purest form. They create an impossible paradox. You must be strong, but your strength must be completely subordinate to their will. Any initiative you take that wasn't pre-approved by them is perceived as a threat to their dominance. They crave masculine energy, but at the same time, they are terrified of its uncontrolled expression. In this system, you can never win because the rules are designed for you to lose. They want respect in words but not in actions. They want you to look like a leader while they hold all the real power. The cycle with no exit. Modern society has normalized weak responses to betrayal. People treat emotional violations like minor inconveniences. Everyone makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But this isn't about perfection. It's about respect. This culture of endless forgiveness is a trap that devalues loyalty. It creates an environment where disrespect has no real consequences. When you tolerate betrayal, you teach them that your boundaries are just suggestions, not requirements. A strong response to disrespect isn't toxic. It's necessary for preserving what's left of your self-respect. Both partners can get hooked on the cycle of dysfunction, the ignoring, the chasing, the dramatic reconciliation. This creates dopamine hits that become addictive. You're not in love anymore. You are chemically dependent on these emotional highs and lows. This roller coaster feels like passion, but in reality, it's just chaos. You're confusing the anxiety of uncertainty with the excitement of love. Real love is stable and safe. If you need constant drama to feel connected, that's not love, that's addiction. Healthy individuals have what I call moral fuses, internal stopgaps that prevent them from crossing certain lines. But some people simply lack them. These are people living without an internal ethical code. They don't stop flirting because it's wrong. They stop only if they might get caught. Their only compass is fear, not conscience. They don't fight temptation. They look for an opportunity to give in. Your pain to them is just an abstract price they are willing to pay for their own momentary satisfaction. They don't see value in loyalty. They only see it as a limitation. A person like this is incapable of true devotion, because for them, right is whatever feels good to them right now. Without internal moral restraints, betrayal isn't a possibility. It's an inevitability, just waiting for the right opportunity, exiting the matrix of chaos. Some people only feel alive when they are in the epicenter of a crisis. For them, stability is a death sentence. They will fabricate problems, start fights, create drama, anything to get that emotional jolt they crave. They aren't trying to solve problems, they are trying to create them. Peace makes them nervous. Calm makes them restless. They need chaos like other people need air. Harmony feels like emptiness because they never learned how to be at peace with themselves. And watch for the projection pattern. When they cause problems, they paint themselves as the victim. You become the aggressor for setting boundaries. You become the controller for expecting consistency. You become the abuser for not accepting their chaos. It's a complete reversal where the perpetrator paints themselves as the one being harmed. This is a powerful defense mechanism that allows them to continue their destructive course without feeling any guilt. You fall into the rescuer's trap when you become responsible for managing her emotions. You're constantly apologizing, explaining, fixing her moods. But you know what happens? You stop being her partner, and you become her emotional janitor, and nobody is attracted to their janitor. Your own personality begins to erode, completely dissolving into the task of her emotional maintenance. The more you try to fix her, the less she respects you. Your help is subconsciously perceived by her as weakness and a desperate attempt to earn love, which only deepens her contempt. Many relationships unconsciously recreate childhood scripts. You become a stand-in for her father, and she replays unresolved conflicts from decades ago. You're not having an argument about dinner, you're having her parents' argument from 1987. You cannot win a fight that started before you even met. You are just an actor in someone else's poorly written play, doomed to repeat their mistakes. The moment of truth, when to leave. The biggest mistake is trying to find logic in fundamentally illogical behavior. Your rational mind desperately tries to build cause and effect connections, but it just burns out because the source data is pure emotional impulse. You're looking for reasons where there are only reactions. You're looking for patterns in chaos. You build complex theories to justify the unexplainable, exhausting your own mental resources. You are trying to understand what cannot be understood because it doesn't come from thought, it comes from trauma. Stop trying to make sense of the senseless. Here is how you know it's time to leave. When you spend more energy managing her emotions than living your own life. When every day feels like defusing a bomb. You wake up with anxiety, not knowing which wire to cut today so it doesn't all explode. When you can't remember the last time you felt peaceful in your own home. When you're walking on eggshells in your own relationship. You lose yourself trying to become someone who won't trigger her negative reaction. Your shoulders are constantly tense and you weigh every word, fearing you'll set off another explosion. When her presence brings you anxiety, not comfort. The moment of clarity comes when you realize you are not in a relationship. You are in a territory of constant tension. This is not a partnership where two people support each other. It's an arena where you are constantly dodging attacks. Every interaction is a strategy. Every conversation is a potential clash. Every minute of peace is just the calm before the next storm. You're no longer waiting for the good moments. You're just dreading the bad ones. This isn't love, it's constant opposition. And you cannot win this argument against someone who is at odds with themselves. Her real problem is her own inner demons, and you just ended up in the line of fire, and no amount of your love or sacrifice can resolve someone else's internal conflict. The decision and its price. The sunk cost fallacy is powerful. We've been together for 5 years. I've invested so much. But time invested in chaos does not turn it into harmony. You won't get those years back by staying. You will just add more wasted years to the pile. By clinging to the past, you deny yourself a chance at a present. Cut your losses. The fear of loneliness keeps people in bad relationships. What if I don't find anyone else? But being alone in silence is 1,000 times better than being coupled in chaos. This fear is an illusion. The real tangible pain is what you experience every day by her side. Loneliness is temporary. The damage from a toxic relationship can be permanent. This fear is often the manipulator's greatest weapon, holding you hostage. Here is the final truth. You cannot build a healthy relationship with an unhealthy person. You cannot create stability with someone who is committed to chaos. You cannot find peace with someone who is addicted to internal conflict. You cannot heal someone with the force of your love if they don't see a problem with their own behavior. Ask yourself, does this relationship add to your life or subtract from it? Do you feel better or worse than before you met her? Are you growing or shrinking? The answers will tell you everything you need to know. The action is clear, but it isn't easy. If you recognize these patterns, if you are exhausted from the chaos, if you've tried everything and nothing changes, it's time to go. Not next month, not after the holidays. Now, a convenient moment will never come. There will always be an excuse to postpone the decision that will save your life, because every day you stay is another day of damage you will need to heal from. You can't save someone from drowning by drowning with them. Your first and foremost responsibility is not her rescue, but the protection of your own sanity. Leaving doesn't mean you're weak. It means you are strong enough to choose yourself. This isn't a retreat, it's an act of self-preservation, the most mature decision you can make in this situation. And now, I want to hear from you. What patterns did you recognize in your own relationships? What was that moment of clarity for you? What is stopping you from leaving? Share your story in the comments. This path is incredibly difficult, and your experience, whatever it may be, has immense value. Sometimes, seeing the path others have walked gives us the courage to take the first step. Your story might be the exact push another person needs to finally choose themselves. Here in our community, you will understand that you are not alone in this struggle. We created this space for exactly these kinds of honest and difficult conversations. To make sure you don't miss new deep dives into human psychology and to become part of this community, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let's figure out what truly matters together.